Okay, guys, so this Reddit story, it's coordinated perfectly with this episode that I recorded. And it talks about weird pronouns. And here it goes. It goes short post, but like in my friend's school, I moved recently, in parentheses, there's a kid that wants people to call them king and starts calling people transphobic when they don't. Am I, am I in the wrong for thinking this is really dumb? To be clear, I do use everyone's pronouns correctly unless I forget because of a recent transition. Though in this case, it feels weird. So, no, man, it doesn't feel weird. Here's my thing on it. If I have to call you king, it would be what I would tell him. If I have to call you king and you call me transphobic, if instead I call you sir, from now on, you're going to call me your majesty. And whenever I say you got to do something, you must bow, like you bow to the kings on, on TV and say, yes, your majesty, whatever your wish is my command, your majesty. So if people want to act weird about it, and if you don't call them king, then be weird too. Hey guys, I'm your host, Martin Perdomo, and this is your ultimate guide to understand what it truly means to be wealthy AF. And today I'm joined by Shannon Whittington. She's a DPN, prepared nurse, educator, and author who loves helping clinicians and healthcare organizations. She recognizes a huge LGBTQ plus knowledge gap within herself and within organizations. Instead of groaning about it, she decided to grow about it. So she went back to school to get a bunch of extra letters after her name to look smart so people would listen to what she has to say. Her mission is to empower organizations with rainbow inclusion to transform how healthcare is delivered to the LGBTQ plus community, because as her mom says, when you know better, you do better. Shannon, thank you for being here. Glad that you're here. Looking to learn from you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And I know usually I don't do a great deal of a really great job at introducing you. So tell us how you got started in all of this.
Well, I didn't even realize that I didn't know about this, and I'm part of the community. I identify as a gay cisgender woman, and about 6 or 7 years ago, I was asked to go and attend some lectures at this hospital when they were starting to do surgeries. Back then, it was called gender reassignment surgeries, and my boss told me to go, and I was so in awe of what they were doing. And I would come back and talk to some of the other nurses and say, hey, do you know anything about this? And they're like, no. And everyone that I asked knew nothing about this in general. And so I said, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to learn more. So I ended up developing a program that supports transgender and non-binary patients after gender affirmation surgery. And then the more I stayed in this area, I realized that I had a huge knowledge gap myself. So I went back to school to get my master's, and then I went back to school to get my doctorate. And I noticed one day when I was posting on LinkedIn, I just kind of barely mentioned something around LGBT, and that engagement shot through the roof as opposed to my other content. And I was like, maybe this is something that the world needs to hear. And so I just started from there. And here we are 7 years later.
So you said you identify, I missed that word, a gay cisgender woman?
Yeah. So lesbian or gay. Cisgender means that I agree with what I was assigned at birth with my sex assigned.
Is that cisgender? I'm sorry, I don't know that word.
Mm-hmm.
SIS.
Yeah,
Gender.
it's one word, cisgender. And it's a word that you'll find used a lot in the LGBTQ plus community, because there's all types of identities, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual. It could just go on and on and on. So cisgender means that you agree with what you were assigned at birth. The doctor, baby pops out, the doctor looks between the hips. It's a girl, it's a boy. That's what I mean.
Okay. So do you agree that there's more than two genders? Is that what you're saying? Do you think that there's more than two genders?
Well, gender exists along a spectrum, but we live in a binary world that says it has to be male or female. Mm-hmm. But for many people, it's a spectrum, especially if you look at someone who's transgender. They don't agree with what they were assigned at birth. Someone who's non-binary doesn't feel like they really fit fully into male or female. And so they're somewhere along that spectrum. If you think about it like the color purple, there's so many different shades of purple, very, very light to very, very dark. And that's how gender is. It's along a spectrum.
I want to share a video with you, if that's okay with you. Can you hear?
I said, so what kind of car do you have? Shut up. Or what kind of car do you have? I said, he goes, a white Mercedes. Holy shit. He thinks this is a Mercedes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the evidence.
What I think.
For the listeners, before you give me your feedback, for the listeners that are not watching, but this is a guy that has a minivan, and he put a Mercedes-Benz logo on the front of his minivan, and he tells the parking attendant, the parking attendant asks him, what type of car do you drive? And he says, I drive a white Mercedes. And so the parking attendant goes and gets this white minivan that has a Mercedes logo in the front. And the parking attendant makes a statement to the degree of, oh, he really believes that this is a white Mercedes. When you look at that, what do you think, first of all?
Well, we can go back to pronouns. It's what it is to you, not what I think I see, not what I think it should be, but what it is to me. Mm-hmm. And even though it's like, that is not a white Mercedes, but he thinks it is. The gentleman who's driving it thinks it is. And so if you look at it from a perspective of pronouns, like if you think about, look at me, right? I think
But real quick on him, just because he think it is, does it actually make it a Mercedes, a white Mercedes? Because it doesn't have the Mercedes parts, it doesn't have the Mercedes rim or the engine. It's a Dodge Caravan, right? Does that make it? It's a Dodge Caravan, but he drives off feeling confident. Like the guy drives off feeling. Those of that can see it, drives off feeling confident. Like, hey, I'm getting my white Mercedes. He's proud about his white Mercedes. But does that mean that the rest of us have to believe that indeed, because he believes it's a white Mercedes, that's a white Mercedes?
I don't think it matters whether we think or believe it to be true or not. It really doesn't matter. It's what you think and believe. And I was just saying this to someone the other day. I was like, I find that in situations like that, saying, okay, it's fine. It's fine. I don't have to argue with you. Dude, that is not a white Mercedes.
I agree. I agree with
white Mercedes? Okay.
I agree with you 100%. 100%. Unfortunately, I guess where I'm going with this, Shannon, is not all sectors of the LGBTQ movement. By the way, I have a transgender nephew that's transitioning. So I have nothing against, I just want to make sure I disclose that I have family that is transitioning. My concern is, though, and my thought around this is that there's some members of the LGBTQ plus community that just because they say they are something, that doesn't mean that I have to believe it, that the rest of us have to believe it, or the rest of us don't agree. You're racist or you're homophobe or this. For instance, as a father, if I have a young daughter and she's 10 or 12 years old, she's a pretty little girl, and we're going into a public bathroom, and a grown man like me with a beard throws on a dress and a wig, and I have a beard. I'm clearly a man. And my daughter is going into a public restroom, and this grown man with a beard is going behind her, and because he believes, it's the Mercedes situation, right? Because he believes that he's a woman, I don't think so. He's not going to follow my daughter into the bathroom. That's me speaking as a protector, as a father of my child. I don't think so. Dude, I understand and I respect you, but not when my daughter or my wife is in the bathroom. You follow what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the solution to that is gender-neutral bathrooms.
I agree. Yes. Yes. The problem is we should have gender-neutral bathrooms. The problem is that there is the movement of, no, I'm a woman with a beard an address, and no, I should be let into the bathroom, into the woman's bathroom, because I believe I'm a woman. So
it's a very controversial topic, the bathroom issue. And, you know, I was at the Trans Wellness Conference in Philly. I was speaking there a couple of years ago, and they had gender neutral bathrooms, so anyone could use any bathroom. And what the research shows is that trans people, non-binary people, do not attack people in bathrooms. They just want to pee and poop just like we do.
yeah.
So in fact, it's quite the opposite. They're the ones that get attacked in the bathrooms. And if we take this even further, a lot of times, like the person that you're describing, beard and dress, sometimes when the gender is presented like that to the public, individuals who have that look don't go to bathrooms at all. And what ends up happening is they end up with urinary tract infections, kidney, disease. Some of them end up going on dialysis because they're holding their urine so long because they want to avoid being behind your daughter in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And dad thinking, hey, that's not safe.
Yeah, and that's fair. As a human being, I'll share with you as a human being, Shannon, I agree. We need to find a solution for this, right? We need to, as a human being, we need to find a solution for this. And they shouldn't have to go through that. They should not have to go through that. I agree with what do you say, non-binary bathrooms?
Gender neutral bathrooms.
Let me ask you this. Neutral bathrooms.
Walgreens is doing it. Did you know that?
No.
Walgreens has 3,000 gender neutral bathrooms.
So are they open, like multiple stalls of bathrooms?
Anyone can use any bathroom. I'm telling you.
But it's not one key. What I'm saying is it's not a key. It's not a key that one person at a time. It's not a key. It's just like multiple stalls type of thing. Just like we can just share bathrooms. That's really interesting. And how's that working out?
Obviously it's working. They did 3,000 of their bathrooms. So when I was at this conference with 10,000 people, mind you, and not everybody was trans at the conference, nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. No one attacked no one.
Let me ask you this question. Does this open up the door, though, for not all, can we agree that not all people are good, right? For the most part, I agree that most people have good intentions and most human beings are good. But does this open up the door for molesters, bad people, bad men, to take advantage of something like this and go hurt others?
I think there's always the possibility of that in almost any situation. I think we are born inherently good.
I agree.
I believe that.
I agree. Me too.
And I think we have to be taught to hate.
I agree. I totally agree with
Just
that.
think about violence in general. What is it, 300 and something deaths related to just being trans? This past, it goes up every year. There's over 400
Still?
Yes. But have you ever seen a headline that said murder solved for a trans person? That you haven't. Mostly you haven't. These crimes are happening, especially in the BIPOC community.
What is that?
You're talking
what is the
about
BIPOC community?
Black, Indigenous, people of color. So the majority of these murders are African American, just for being trans, just for going into the bathroom that aligns with what they think aligns with their gender and being sodomized and killed. It's a sad state, and I think that all of these laws that we have now that are trying to be passed, they're not written by aliens. They're being written by people, and they're being passed. There's like a great migration. Like I live in New York. People are migrating here from some of the states that don't allow gender-affirming care anymore. If you have your trans nephew, trans niece, depends on what state you're in, they can't get health care.
Let's talk about that. What is gender-affirming care?
It's where you recognize everything about that person, that client, that patient. So you're not just treating the symptom, but you're treating the whole person, which means addressing me with the pronouns that I use, addressing me with the name that I prefer. Like if I'm trans, maybe my prior name was Sean and now my name is Shannon because I'm a trans woman. Then you address me as Shannon. You address my pronouns as she, her. You ask me about that. You provide me with care that's not strictly related to me being trans. Like so many trans people can't even get health care because physicians don't know how to take care of them. Healthcare providers don't know how to take care of them. What did I say in the very beginning? There was a knowledge gap, right? So affirming care is taking all those things into consideration when you're giving care to that person. What it's not is misgendering the person, which is calling them the wrong pronoun, dead naming them, which is calling them their old name, telling them I can't treat you because I don't take care of patients like you, and all you want is to get your UTI treated with some antibiotics. What does being trans have to do with that? Or having to educate your healthcare provider on, why you still need to have your prostate tested, those type of things.
What do you mean when you say why you still need to have your prostate tested after you, do trans women, I hope I'm saying correctly, trans women, so they went from man to a woman, do they still need to have their prostate tested?
Yes, they don't remove their prostate. If they had surgery, if they had vaginoplasty surgery, which is creation of a vagina, they don't remove their prostate. So they still should have a PSA test. So a knowledgeable healthcare provider would know that. That's affirming care.
How are you helping the healthcare industry and what you do educate them to get this information, right? It seems like very, I'm just speaking from very plain person, right? I'm not in the community, so I'm just seeking to learn. It just seems like it's a bit confusing if you don't know. So if you have traditional medicine for so many years, and we've had, prostates and ovaries, and it's just a readjustment of the whole healthcare system in a way. How are you going about educating doctors to address this? Because what's the percentage of trans people, right? What is the percentage as a whole? What is that percentage? Do you know that number?
It's being trans is about as common as being a redhead.
So what is that?
It's like 1%.
1%. So we got
and there's 20 million LGBTQ plus people, but I mean, we can just take this conversation so many
No, I'm just looking to educate myself.
A lot of us are hidden, right?
Okay.
So we don't fill out surveys that says we are trans, we are LGBT. We don't, because of so much discrimination that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I go about educating, I speak all over the country. I have a book, LGBTQ plus ABCs for Grown-Ups, and it's basically like a book for dummies. It's very, very basic. The letters mean this, the colors mean that. What does being transgender mean? What's this thing with pronouns, and why should I even mention that when there's only he or she? Those kind of things. So I speak all over. All of my platforms are LGBTQ focused, and I'm on podcasts to talk to people.
Yeah.
So I can,
educate people. In your bio here, we said that part of your mission is empower organizations with rainbow inclusion and transform how healthcare. So we talked about that. So how do you empower organizations with rainbow inclusion? Because a moment ago we said, I want to stay on this healthcare before you answer that, because we said it's about 1 or 2% of the population identifies in this group. Yet, what is the solution? Do you think that all hospitals and the whole medical field should be retrained to serve this 1 and 2% of the population? Do you think that's the solution, that the whole entire medical field should be revolutionized so that we can serve these people? Or do you have a better suggestion, a better solution?
Yes, it does need to be revolutionized.
The whole entire healthcare?
Yeah. It needs to be revolutionized, and it needs to be normalized. So that's my mission. Because here's the thing. Have you ever eaten a one of those, those waffles, has all those nooks and crannies, Eggo waffle. What's it called?
Eggos.
Yeah. You ever had one of those? All those nooks and crannies that's on it. Well, that's how gay people are. We're in all the nooks and crannies. We are everywhere, whether you know it or not. We're sitting next to you. We're in your communities, your banks. We're in your places of worship. Okay, and we're your patients. We're also providing care to you. We're in your communities. We're serving you your lunch. I mean, we are everywhere, whether you believe or know that to be true. We are. So then some might say, well, so what? I don't care. I don't care. Well, fine. But a lot of people do. That's why we have over 400 bills that are trying to be passed, because a lot of people do care. So yes, it does need to be revolutionized because it's missing. You know, the discipline that has the most training around this is social workers. When we think about healthcare, they have the most training. Dentists have the least. So I get students every semester from Ivy League to no league, and I always ask them, did you have any education around this? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. You know, there was a study that came out a few years ago that studied all these nursing schools across the country to ask that very question. You know, is this included in your curriculum? And it was determined that the average healthcare provider gets about 2.12 hours of education in this area. And some of the comments were like, no, we don't do that, and we don't plan on doing that.
I saw another video the other day at a LGBTQ walk or event, and the interviewer was asking people what they identified themselves as.
What do you identify as? I'm a lesbian. They, she. They, she, non-binary, trans masc.
Bisexual. I'm just trans. I'm a gay male pup. Yeah.
Gay male pup?
Transgender. Yeah.
When you look at the last gentleman, he's wearing a mask, and he says he identifies as a gay male pup. I personally, this is my personal opinion, I actually think that goes against what you're trying to do, because it's like, again, the guy with the Mercedes-Benz, you're not a puppy. Like he said he's a gay male pup. That's just really confusing. And I think actually, in my opinion, I think it's actually this honoring the LGBTQ community when someone says he's a gay male pup. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, straight people are doing this too in the schools. Have you seen that?
No, tell me about it.
It's defined as kittens, and now they're even putting kitty litter in the bath.
That's just crazy to me. Like, we're not that. Like we're not, like, stop. Like, I understand.
But I just want to, well, just iterate that it's not just gay people identifying as animals. That could be anyone. So the sexual orientation really has nothing to do with it. And it's everywhere. I just found out about this like 6 months ago. I'm like, what do you mean there's kitty litter in the bathroom in the schools? Yes, because some of the kids are identifying as cats and dogs.
What do you think about that? Do you not think that is like mental health issue? I think we start going down that rabbit hole. It starts to become more of a mental health issue. Like we used to call those people schizophrenic, before this whole thing. Unfortunately, it's just been kind of labeled with the LGBTQ community because of all the pronouns and all of the things, and it just kind of, now that you've educated me that even straight people are doing it, but that's just crazy. It's just crazy talk. I don't care. Like, it's just crazy talk. You're not a gay. What is a gay male pup? I don't know what that, like.
It sounds very bizarre, doesn't it?
What are you talking about, dude? Like, gay male, like, I don't even know what a gay dog is. Like, what?
Well, you know that some dogs and cats are gay, though, right? It's not
no clue. I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So more than one gay animal. So people are gonna think we are really onto something here, but yeah. Oh yeah. So it's not just humans that can be gay.
Wow. Okay, so I got one final question for you. Are pronouns now part of the English language changing? Is that going to be the future? Like, what do you see in the future? Because there's there's LGBTQ plus, it's like unlimited, right? So what is the future of of the English language look like?
LGBTQ plus QIA 2SP. I've seen it written so many different ways. If you think about the community in general, this is a linguistically fluid language that changes about every 3 to 5 years. They, them pronouns are now in Webster's dictionary as singular pronouns. And that's very hard for some people to wrap their mind around. But if you think about it and you say, I'm going to take them, their phone, you're talking about one person. So I think with the pronouns, what I see happening is we are starting to see this in a lot of people's email signatures. A lot of corporations are adopting this and putting it in their emails, even on your, ID cards. And I think for us to be respectful, like the person that you were talking about that went into the bathroom, you said it's a beard, it's a mustache, but a dress. Pronoun, you need to know the pronoun. So instead of assuming people's pronouns, we ask, hey, my name is Shannon, my pronouns are she, her, what's yours? And then you are respecting that person. And again, it's not what I think I see. It's not what I think it should be. It's what it is to me. And you using the pronoun that I give you shows respect, shows that you're fine with it. It's cultural humility. And, it really depends on the generation, because if you think about youth today, 20% of youth today identify as gender diverse.
20%?
Yeah. And it's not like all of a sudden all these gay people have just come out of the closet, or these trans people just come out of the closet. It's just been, because it has just become a little safer.
Tell me, what does that mean, 20% gender diversified? That's the word you use.
Not identifying as male or female, somewhere along the spectrum that we talked about earlier.
Does that make them gay or lesbian?
You can be of any sexual orientation. So gender and sexual orientation are often conflated, but they're actually two separate things. Sexual orientation is who I am attracted to. Gender is how I feel inside. Now, if you sometimes I wear combat boots and a baseball cap and my hair back in a ponytail. It doesn't mean I want to be a man. I'm just feeling like that day. And then there's other days I've got my hair down, I got my lipstick on, and I'm in a dress. Spectrum. Did I just
look, my brain. No, my brain. I'm trying to catch up to. I'm trying to process what you just said. So
you have to think about the society that we live in is a binary society. It is. We love to put people in boxes. You either or. But there's a lot between the two boxes of male and female, of gender expression, and you're starting to see it more and more. We're really more the same than we are different. It's society that puts these labels on.
I agree with that 100%.
It's a social construct,
I 100% agree with that.
This, you should dress like that. You're a girl, you should play with dolls. You're a boy, you should play with trucks. I mean, that's ingrained in us.
So I want to go back to the 20% youth identifying as gender diversified. New language for me. Okay, so gender diversified just means that doesn't necessarily mean that their sexual, doesn't identify their sexual preference, sexual orientation. It just who and what they identify as. It's just like, hey, I'm just neutral. I don't consider myself a man or a woman. I'm just.
Mm-hmm. There, you got it.
I'm just.
Think about gender neutral clothing. You've ever seen that?
Well, I would say overall, maybe. Unisex, yeah. Yeah, unisex, yep. A hoodie.
Yeah,
right.
It's kind of like
a hat, unisex.
I could wear your sweatshirt.
Yeah, of course. I guess my. Yeah, it's my brain is spinning right now.
It's good though, because it's really good that we're talking about this, because the way you feel is the way a lot of people feel.
Well, it's just I don't have the education, so I'm not in your circle, so I don't have the education. It just seems, and I'm going to speak for myself, it just seems that when you have a lot of male pup guy or the Mercedes guy, right? You're crazy, man. Like you're not a dog. like it's just logically, like, I can respect your sexual preference. I can respect that. I can respect that you identify as a woman. Fine, I respect that. This is why I identify as. Let's respect each other. I'll address you the way you're. Cool. But when we start going into, I'm a dog, or I'm like, I gotta have a kitty litter. What are we saying here? Like, where are we going here? Like, how far are we going to go? Just address me as your Royal Highness from now on, right? Like, what are we talking about? Like, we start going into territory that makes the rest of us like we're not crazy. I know you're not a dog. I know you're not a cat, because I have a cat and I have a dog and I know what they look like. And I know what they. You look like me. You're a human being. So what are you talking about? If we just start going into these names and pronouns, that is like, no, man, you start to sound crazy, and I don't have to believe that you're a dog, because you're not. Now, you want me to refer to you as they and them. Cool. You want but as my nephew changed his name to River. Her name is River now. Hey, you want me to call you River? That's fine. That's you're transitioning. Cool, fine. But dude, you're not a dog. Like, right? You're just not a dog. It just messes with the rest of us. The 98% of us have brains. Like, you are not a lion. You are not a dog. You're not a cat. You're a human being. Let's call you. I prefer you identify as a woman, or she. Call me she or whatever. But you're not a dog.
I think like you said, it's just really about respect. Like, you don't have to agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't legislate people's hearts, right? If you think that's crazy, think it's crazy. It's crazy. You think it's, but respect it. That's it. No special treatment. Right?
That's
just respect.
That's it right there. That's it. You nailed it right there. It's like, okay, you think you're that, fine. Don't expect me to think that you're that. And if I don't believe in your craziness, because you don't have dog DNA, I personally believe it's craziness. You don't have dog DNA. You can't then go and start being loud that the other person that doesn't believe that you're a dog is a homophobe or this or that. No, dude, you're just not, bro. You're just a crazy person. You're not a dog. You're not a cat. I'm not buying into your craziness. It's just, you're not an animal. Tell me, I identify as a human, whatever, but you're human. You're 2 legs to stand. You know what I mean? It's just, don't then go say that because that other person doesn't agree that you think you're a dog, that they're now racist or something, or crazy, or bio this or whatever, homophobe or something, because it's just crazy talk. That's just like, that's not
very quick to go to that.
Go there, right? Yes.
As a society, we're very quick to go to that. My mom has a saying, and she said it my entire life, and I never really knew what she meant. And she said, let every tub sit on its own bottom. And when I was little, I was like, a tub sitting on the bottom. All tubs sit on their bottom. And then, as I became an adult, it was like, you be you and let me be me.
Yes. Let's respect each other.
You don't have to agree with it. I'm sure you have feelings about your niece has transitioned. But you said you're fine with it.
I respect it. I respect it. I love her just as much. Nothing's changed. I love her just as much. I respect it. It's just, hey, man, I love you. I respect you. And I will call you just, hey, my own theories or my own ways of believing have the same respect for my own whatever thoughts I may have, and that may be different to yours. That's all that we can all ask for. Let's just be respectful to one another. Let's have respectful dialogue like we're having right here, and learning from each other. Right? Let's learn from each other. We have to coexist. We all have to coexist. So let's just try to understand each other and respect each other. Don't expect us to be just be delusional. Just, there's another spectrum of which we talked about. There's just so far, like, hey, man, I'm not buying into that.
But I do appreciate you buying into this topic to want to learn more. We need more people like you. We need allies. We need people who support us. Don't necessarily have to agree with us, but if you see something, you say something. You see something, you do something.
I grew up in I don't know how old you are. I'm 45. I grew up in the 90s, 80s, and I saw some stuff during that time in New York City. Grew up, born and raised in New York City. I saw some things in New York that I am not very proud of, right? Like the way that gay people got treated. It breaks my heart to even think about kind of shit that we would hit the news. You may remember. It's just absolutely just that we can't have that. We cannot have other human beings hurt other human beings because of their sexual preference or because of the way they look. We just cannot. That is just, I don't care. We could disagree, but we cannot hurt other people. That is just, no, we can't do that.
Yet it happens every day. You know, and I even feel like I'm probably on the paranoia side now because, you know, I travel all over the country speaking about this topic, knowing that I'm going to be around audience members who have very strong views against it, some who have strong views for it, but many who have very strong views against it. I don't post where I am until after I've gotten on the plane. I don't want to get jacked in the elevator. You know, I was walking down the street in Chelsea, gay town, with my wife, and a man came by and bashed our heads into each other. And we weren't even doing the PDA thing, right? Public display of affection. No reason whatsoever. Nothing. Just didn't like it. You know?
I'm sorry you went through that.
Oh, thank you. But, you know, which is the whole thing around hiding and, you know, just for protection, for safety.
See, that's just not
and
that's just
existing in, we go back to the person who described for the bathroom. Imagine walking out your front door in a society that we're in, dressed like that. How do you think that person's going to navigate getting to the subway?
New York is it's challenging. New York is very liberal, but it's also got a lot of crazy people in New York. You got a lot of, it's just, I'm from New York City, so I can speak freely. I was born and raised in that.
Yeah, I've lived here for 30 years. I mean, I'm sure you can hear my country accent because I'm originally from Tennessee. But, oh, yeah.
But with that same level of respect.
No different than you.
Yeah, no, they're not. No.
Yay,
that's right. And the human beings.
Human.
Yes.
Human.
Yes, we're human beings. And I believe, like, I've traveled a lot. My wife and I like to travel a lot. So one thing I've learned in my travels is that we all, regardless of race, color, country, it doesn't matter. We all want a few basic things. We want to eat. We want to be left alone. We want to be with our family. We want to be happy. And your sex orientation has nothing. We want to be at peace. Has absolutely nothing to do with that. Nothing. That's just the way of a human being, right? And if we could just respect each other, love each other, most importantly, from a foundation of respect, that's where it all stands from. In color, sexual orientation, none of that crap matters. True. Shannon, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing with me, educating my audience, and expanding my horizon. I'm one that likes to believe that I like to be open-minded and like to learn and like to come to the table and just hear and listen to different perspectives than mine and grow. I believe that's how you grow. That's how you get better. I think if you're going to make society better, that's how you do it. Shannon, if people wanted to connect with you or they wanted to maybe attend one of your workshops.
Well, I'm all over social media. LinkedIn is my primary platform, but I'm also on IG, TikTok, YouTube. My name, Shannon Whittington. The book LGBTQ plus ABCs for Grownups is available on Amazon. And probably by the time this airs, it's a bestseller. It already is a bestseller, and it's also won a book award, Indie Book Award. So I'm really proud about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So you could just DM me any of those platforms, and because I get those kind of DMs all the time, believe it or not.
I'm sure you do. And I hope that you guys truly discovered what it means to be wealthy AF.